Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and I have all the stuff here. We're going to put together our May Stamp Club card packets. So our packet looks like this. We're going to use the Arch Wishes stamp set, which looks like this, and let's just jump in there and go ahead and get started. So as I pull my packet out, we're going to start with the blue packet here on top. Let me just tell you, Stamp Club is a 3-card club. 1 card I send already made in the packet, and then we make 2 cards together. And we vote on which bundle we're going to use, and we use it for 2 months. So that's what, if you're part of my card club, I'll show you how to put the cards together. Before I do that real quick, I just want to let you know that I did throw this word search. Another demonstrator, and dang it, I can't remember her name right now, sent this to us, and I'll put her in the description as a thanks. So if you get bored, here's all of our in colors in a word search. It's kind of fun. So if you like word searches, that's something you can do. And like I said, I'll put her and a thank you to her in the description of the video. Okay, we're going to start with the blue card. This is the 3rd card that I made for you. Thought I turned out pretty cute using those arch dies, which coordinates with the Arch Wishes very well. I know they're unavailable right now, but they should be back early June. And I think it's the 9th, but don't quote me on that because I could have my dates wrong. Okay, blue card. Let's go ahead and get started. So the gems, or the dots, I'm going to put aside so I can save them, don't lose them for later. We have, first of all, our blue Berry Bushel blue card base, and yours should have a post-it note. Now this is one of the post-it note that has all the sticky back, so it's like I said, the whole thing is sticky back. We'll need that for use for a mask. I'm going to set that there because we're going to stamp on that probably first thing. And then I just realized, hang on 2 seconds, I'm so sorry, I need a piece of scratch paper. And I know I just cleaned my desk and I got rid of them all, so I'm going to just grab one of this scratch paper because I'll need that later. Okay, back to our pieces and parts. Then you have 2 basic white, the exact same size. One is going to be a layer on the front. I'm going to set that aside with that blueberry bushel. The other's the inside, which we'll stamp on pretty soon here. You have a piece of designer series paper. That's going to be a layer for the front. And then you have your Arched Wishes white arch here, and a pretty in pink. And then it just dawned on me I should show you the card so you know what we're making. The card looks like this, and there again I cased it from a demonstrator, and I'll put her name in the description of the video because I can't remember who that was either. Terrible. Okay, so let's grab some black Memento ink and let's do our stamping first. And we're going to kind of stamp and fussy cut and stamp and fussy cut, so might take a few minutes. You'll have to be patient with me. But we're going to use that cupcake first. And I'm going to ink up. Let's start. Well, we'll just ink up the whole thing. And we're going to stamp it onto that arched white piece here. And I want to stamp it toward the bottom. And I'm going to get it straight here with those, stitches on the bottom. And I want it toward the bottom of the arch, so it looks like that. Okay, then we're going to take, that's where I need the scratch paper here, and we're going to stamp the frosting of the cupcake onto that pretty in pink square there. And you could ink up the whole thing. We just need the frosting on this piece, so I'm going to make sure I put that about toward the center of the pretty in pink piece. Whoop, like that. And then on our post-it note, I want to stamp mostly, as much as I can, I should say, of the cupcake frosting and the bottom toward the center. I'm not going to worry about the candle. We don't need that part, but I want to make sure that I get this inked up really well down there. And then I'm going to make sure that that cupcake, like I said, we don't care about the candle, but I'm going to make sure that cupcake is in the center like that. So I have some room at the bottom here and a little bit of room at the top. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our mask for our cupcake. So I'm going to take my paper snips here, and I only want to cut like this top section of the frosting. So I'm going to come in here trying to save as much of the Post-it note as I can, because we're going to need that. And I'm going to cut right through that black line of my stamping. Take my time here and cut out a mask. And remember, I said we only want, excuse me, dang it, that top part of the frosting. So I'm going to do something like that. And then I'll check when I do my stamping to see if I need to cut some more of that. This part, this is trash. We don't need that. Okay, so we're going to take our cupcake here and we're going to cover that cupcake with our mask. And this is so I can add, and then I'm going to kind of use that Post-it note, see if it can't hold down my paper a little bit, but it's not doing a very good job. He's kind of fired. Anyway, now we're going to stamp these candles here, but first I want to kind of put my glow, so I'm going to bring in that Lemon Lolly ink and that glow of the stamp set. Let me show you on the stamp case which one. This one here. And we're going to kind of guess about where our candles are going to end up. So we know this one's here, and it's probably not going to be perfect because it's red rubber and hard to see, but I'm going to just get it close up there. So I have that one, and then we're going to kind of have them arch down with our cupcakes, right? So, or with our candle cupcakes, our cupcake candles. There we go. You try to say that on video. So I'm going to kind of do one here, and then I'm going to kind of do one here, and then I'm going to try to stamp my candles into those glows. And like I said, it probably won't be perfect, but it's still going to look really good. Okay, so we have our glow there. Now we're going to bring back in that cupcake and the ink. And now I only want to get the top of the cupcake. Now, if you're leery and you don't want the ink all over, or you think you might get your ink where you don't want it, you could certainly clean this, but I'm a lazy stamper. I'm not going to. I'm going to just get that candle here at the top as best I can. And when I set this down over my mask, I'm going to make sure you can see where the mask is and where your cupcake is. I might get my head in the camera. And where you want that candle to be with your little glow. And I'm going to just set it down something like that, because I can see that my cupcake's all on the mask and my candle was almost to that glow. See how I did that? Now we're going to do that 3 more times. Okay, so I'm taking up just my candle up there, take my stamp, make sure it's all on the masking and it's not going to mask where I don't want it. I can show you that. There we go. So it looks like about like that. I think that's going to be okay. And then let's do that. Those 2 more. These 2 I think are a little bit easier than the one over here. So take that, making sure that my cupcake is behind the mask or on top of the mask. There we go. Ooh, I almost got that candle in the glow. Not quite, but it's going to be good enough. And then this one last time, making sure everything's covered. I'm going to stamp it like that. So it looks something like that. Okay? Sound good? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take our mask off. And now we're going to use our mask again. This time on your mask, you're going to cut away this part of the cupcake bottom, I guess. So if you poke a little hole in the center and then work your way. And again, I'm going to cut right through those black lines. And it's kind of hard to see because of the stamping on there. You could get another Post-it, but there's no need. We're just going to cut through that black line. Maybe here we are. No, we are. There we go. And cut that inside of the cupcake bottom, or the cupcake paper, that thing. And all the way up to that frosting like that. And then around, I'm trying to see because I have a lot of stamping on there, where that frosting bottom is right here. So now if you take that part out, let's see, I got a little corner stuck here. There we go. It looks something like that. Okay, this piece is trash. We don't need that. But now we're going to take this and layer over the cupcake bottom. And now you can see, let me see if I have it. There we go. And now you can see that cupcake bottom through your mask, so it looks like that. Okay, then we're going to bring in some pool party ink. And a blending brush. And I'm going to get some ink here. I'm going to use the lid of my stamp pad to just drop that off. That way you get a smoother image or a smoother color when you go to color. I'm going to kind of start off here and just make that cupcake bottom pool party now. Making sure I get those corners and the edge. And since that Post-it note has sticky all over, it'll make a really nice mask. So it looks something like that. And then, you know what though, look, I missed this corner down here. Let me grab this. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, then when you take your mask off, you have a cupcake that looks like that. Now, I would just take this and I would throw it in my stamp case and use it over and over and over again until it gets too saturated. But usually if it's even too saturated and then dries a little while, it'll work just fine again. So there you go for your mask. And now that's a good start, but now we need to cover our cupcake like this. Now you could just go ahead and color the whole thing. I was trying to show you a different way to use the cupcake rather than just coloring it all. So we're going to take this piece of pink, Pretty in Pink, that we stamped that cupcake on, at least the top. And again, I'm going to cut through that black line, and we're going to fussy cut. We don't need the candle, so I'm going to fussy cut like that. I am going to take and cut this little piece of the candle right out. And that way we'll see the candle that's white through the cupcake. Frosting. This is the frosting of the cupcake. Let's see if I can get that. Nope. Hang on. Got one little corner here that's not there. Now he's trimmed out. So it looks something like that. Now let me finish the rest of it real quick. And cut that frosting all the way out. I hear this is probably a Kathy card because I like to fussy cut a lot more than I like to color. And so this would be right up my alley rather than taking the time to color that big cupcake. This way you can just fussy cut this. And really it's not a fussy cut per se, because usually when you fussy cut, you leave that little border, and I don't want that border. I'm cutting right through that black line of the stamping so it looks like that. Okay, there we go. This is all trash. We put all this in the trash. Now, before I put my cupcake down, I'm going to quickly color those. And I'm going to use a, let's see if this is the dark. Peach Pie, that's a light. I'm going to use Peach Pie Dark Stampin' Blend. And I'm going to just color every other section of that candle. And then I have some cute pumpkin pie and white candles on my cupcake here. I like to use the bullet tip. I think that way you just have a little bit more control and you don't quite go outside the lines. Now, if your cupcake, right, didn't, like, say for instance your mask covered a candle, you can see on this one right here, it's not exactly perfect. I could take a Stampin' Write marker and just color in those lines. That's so small, I'm not going to worry about it, but if it's a bigger area than that, if you have that on yours, that's just a way to fix it. You could take a Sharpie, right? But be careful because Stampin' Blends are alcohol-based, Sharpie markers are alcohol-based. Just be careful when you color because that Sharpie could bleed out to where your Stampin' Write marker would not. It's the same ink as your Memento. Okay, let's go ahead and just take some liquid glue, and I should have made sure, oh, we'll use this one. And I'm gonna glue that icing, this Pretty in Pink frosting, icing, whatever it is, to our cupcake. Maybe. There we go. And you'll see that you line up that candle where you cut him away. And then it looks something like that. Look, isn't that cute? And now you have a cupcake that you didn't have to color. Just kind of a sponge and stuff, that's all done. Now all we need to do is stamp that Make-A-Wish. So I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel ink. And this stamp right here from the stamp set, Make-A-Wish, and we're going to stamp that in Blueberry Bushel over the top. Now, let me tell you this. You could have stamped the Blueberry Bushel first and then stamped the glow of your candle. However, you have to be careful, because if you stamp the blueberry and then you stamp the yellow over the blueberry, you might pick up some of that dark blue Blueberry Bushel ink, and then you would have sparkles the wrong color. They would be green because it'd be blue and yellow together. And then there's a slim possibility you could get Blueberry Bushel ink onto your lemon lolly, and I didn't want that, so I did it this way. So it looks something like that. Okay, ooh, while we have the Blueberry Bushel out, let's go ahead and take the inside of that white inside. Oh, and you know what? I have black ink on my happy birthday. I'm gonna wash that really quick, because we're gonna use Blueberry Bushel on the inside, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with that yellow on the blue. So if we take our happy birthday here, and I stamp it here, right? And then we take the lemon lolly. Let me put this away so I don't get my hands in it. And we take the lemon lolly and you stamp over the blue, and then you pick it up. Let's see if I'm lying or not. Sometimes you'll get, see how you have just a little bit of blue that came with the lemon lolly, and that's what we don't want to get in our stamp or on our card. So I just stamped it off a little bit. I'm going to use the corner just to be safe so I don't get Blueberry Bushel on my lemon lolly. Clean it off again. And I'm going to just stamp this 3 times, and that's going to be the inside of my card, something like that. Okay, let's grab our Blueberry Bushel card base, our designer series paper, and our white layer, and let's finish up this card. Now, if you need the measurements, like say for instance, you want to make the cards again, or maybe you don't even have a packet and you want to make them on your own, after this video, after I post this video, I'm going to go onto my gallery, which is becreativewithkathy.com, and I will add all the measurements. They're not there right now. I haven't got that done. It's on my to-do list, but I will get all the measurements on there. Oh my gosh, and all my tape runners, that's bad timing, are empty. Here's a tip: when you do replace your tape runners, kind of take and get all of that adhesive that's kind of straggling and left behind and kind of clean. Mine are terrible. Maybe I didn't do it last time I changed them. But if you kind of get that glue that's stuck to them like that off of there, your tape runner will run smoother over the long run. Okay, let me get that refill and throw it in there real quick. I should have done that before the video, but I didn't realize. There we go. Couldn't find the pegs to put that on. There we go. Now, let's get it started. Look at that big blue glue booger stuck to my thumb. Okay, now, there we go. Nice and smooth. But we're going to take our designer series paper and we're going to place it onto this white layer here, itty bitty little border. So it looks something like that. And then you have to decide, does it have an upside? You know, is this the way? Should it go this way? Should it go this way? I don't think it does, so I'm not going to worry about it. But we're going to take that and place it on the front of our card. And then we're going to take our inside. Guess where we're going to place that? Right, we're going to put that on the inside of our card here. And then I'm gonna put my cupcake on the front with dimensionals. Now, if you like to mail your cards flat, you could certainly just put that flat on your card. I like to add just a few dimensionals. And then when I mail my cards, I use a butterfly stamp or a non-machinable stamp, and then I don't have to worry about if they have a little bit of lift or a little bit of bumps going through the mail. Let's put this in the center here. Let's say something like that. That looks pretty straight. And then those dots that I said I wasn't going to lose, which I did not, here they are. I'm going to use take a pick tool here. And I don't know if you noticed, but right here, I have a little bit of blue from the edge of my stamp. I'm going to place one of my little dots over that so you can't see it there. Just cover up a blemish. And then I'm going to place the other two down here. So these resin dots, or really any bling like this, are good if you have little boo-boos like that. Okay, that's card number 1, just like that. There we go. And we have the inside. This one's probably a little better because it doesn't have that little blemish, but easy, quick cards, no coloring involved, just fussy cutting, which is fun. Okay, let's go to the second card, which is this Petunia Pop. Once again, I'm going to take my bling here and I'm going to set it up here so I don't lose it. Let's go ahead. We have a Petunia Pop base. We have a Petunia Pop layer. This is going to be layer on the front. That white is going to be the inside, and we're going to stamp that last. So I'm going to take both of those and just set them aside for now. I'll take my thread, set that aside. And then we have 2 arches, right? These are going to layer on top of another. We're going to stamp on the Designer Series paper one. And all these pieces of Designer Series paper, we're going to stamp on those. First thing we need to do is take, from your stamp set, this big Cheers to Another Year of You, and it's going to be stamped right here on our Designer Series paper. Now, you could take a block. This is a, drum roll please, F block, and you could lay that on there and stamp it. Now, I have really bad hands. My thumb hurts really bad, and using that big, heavy block is not good for my hands. So I'm going to bring in my stamp positioning tool, and I'm going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to just take my, really it's a Stamparatus that's not available. Hopefully you have a stamp tool like this or something like this, or you can use that big block, and your hands are better than mine. But I'm going to just take my paper here. Now I'm going to stamp on this edge, so I'm going to put and hold it down here. I'm going to lay my stamp where I want it. And I'm really kind of looking at the exclamation point here and the C here. Now you can see I took my scissors because I kept getting the edge like I did on the other card of my stamp. So I just trimmed it down with some scissors. So mine's not perfect on the back, but it stamps perfect on the front. And I think right there is where I want it. Okay, we're going to pick that up with our tool here, and then with some black Memento ink, I'm going to ink that up good. And then I'm going to lay that down. Well, let's see if I have to do it again. I think it should. Nope. Looks just fine, just like that. Okay, so I have that Cheers to Another Year of You all done on my Designer Series paper. We'll put this aside. Oh, well, there's the cat. Move, Paul. Sorry about that. No, terrible timing, Paul. Terrible timing. Okay, let's do some more stamping now on these little pieces of Designer Series paper. I made sure that you'd have lots of extra balloons just in case, and I'll show you a little bit later what you can do with all these balloons. But I'm going to take that balloon stamp here, and I'm going to ink up mainly the balloon part, making sure, you know, that part that you blow into your balloon, and I'll show you what I'm talking about after I stamp. But I'm going to take my Designer Series paper, and yours might not be the exact same size. I just use scraps for packets, but it's big enough, I guarantee you, to stamp that top of the balloon. And this is the part that you would like blow the balloon up. You really want that part too. but you don't need any of that string. And I'm gonna do all, or 6, I guess, balloons, 2 on each pieces of my designer series paper. One more. And I should have cut all these balloons out, but I'm going to just cut the 3 that I need for the front out, and then I'll show you what I did with the other balloons at club. And I'll make this card a little bit more simple so you don't have to sit and watch me fussy cut a ton of balloons. Okay, I have my 6 balloons. Oh, while we're at it, let's take that arch. And I'm gonna, did I show you the card? I didn't even show you the card. Shame on me. Okay, here we go. Here's the card that we're making. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna take my balloon and I wanna stamp 1 in the center of my designer series paper, the whole thing, balloon, string, everything. So we'll ink him up good and stamp him right here in the center. And then I'm gonna kind of have a straggly balloon that's off here to the right. And his tail, I got my scratch paper because his tail, or the string, I guess I should say, is gonna hang off. But I want him kind of down here by himself. And then this other balloon, I'm gonna stamp over in this area. And I'd really kind of like to keep this area right here showing. And I don't know why, but I liked it better that way. So this one's gonna just go a little bit on top of that other balloon. Let's say about, what do you think? There look good? Yeah, that'll look good. Not very happy. Look, I have a little blemish down here. I pushed too hard, but I think it's gonna be okay. All right, I guess while we have our inks out, let's go ahead and take that white piece for the inside of our card and that happy birthday. Let me clean it again because now it has blueberry bushel in there and I want it to be black. Make sure it's clean. Okay, and let's ink that up. And stamp that down right here. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside and let that dry while we fussy cut out those 3 balloons that we need. My suggestion when you're cutting, first of all, that you cut them, you separate the balloons, and then you cut out this little piece. This is where you'd put your mouth, you'd blow up the balloon. I'm going to cut that piece out first because it's easier to have a bigger piece of paper to hang on to than to cut that out last and have an itty bitty piece to hang on to. So I'm going to again cut right through that black line and just go around this piece here, making sure I don't cut that off. And you notice, I think it's easier to keep your scissors still and just use your fingers to move that paper, and that's how you get that nice little circle like that of the balloon. Okay, there's one. Do the same thing with the purple. Make sure I start here at the bottom first. And I really think that this designer series paper, now this is the Unbounded Love or something like that designer series paper. You can go to my gallery, becreativewithkathy.com, and all the supplies will be there and get the right name for it. But anyway, I think this designer series paper made a really good pattern for the balloons. It's kind of got those specks on it that makes it kind of look like they could be the texture of a balloon. I don't know, it just worked really good. Okay, one more. You have to suffer through me cutting out one more balloon. But it didn't take long. And like I said, fussy cutting is one of my favorite techniques. I find it kind of relaxing. And this isn't, I don't know if I'd call this fussy cutting. I mean, we're fussy cutting them out, but usually a fussy cutting has that little border, and I'm, like I said, going right through that black line of the stamping. Almost done. There we go. And now we have our 3 little balloons ready. Let's go ahead and work on the front of the card while this is still drying. So bring this back in. And I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional that were right here, right? Oh, here they are. And on the back of each of my balloons, I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional on the big part. And then I'm going to take my precision tip glue bottle here, because I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of glue on that part where you'd blow it up. Maybe I should have worked on my glue. I think he's almost empty. I probably need to add some more glue in there. There, oop, now it came out a lot. Okay, there we go. And then when you set this down, right, oop, wait, I got to put the purple one on first. That wasn't good. I'm going to start with the purple one in the back. I want to put him, oh, and that's not the purple one. Okay, 3rd time's a charm. Let's try it there. That's the purple one that I went in the back. That was pretty bad. I looked at this color, that looked purple, and I thought there he is, but nope. So I'm going to put this, and you see how I have this glued down, right? And then I put a dimensional on there. And then we'll just take this little peach pie one and set him there. And then we'll take this green one. Oop, and you got to make sure, this isn't good, we want the dimensional, make sure it's where this balloon won't be. So I'm going to set it here on my card and then set that down and put that like that. We have our little balloons there. Okay, so that's why we have our glue here. I'm going to go ahead and just glue this arch. To that summer splash arch. There's a nice little border. You can just look at the stitching and make sure you get it where you want it. So it looks like that. Okay, let's do some more stamping now. Okay, we'll let that dry. Okay, so in your card package, you have your Petunia Pop card base, and then you have this layer here. I'm going to find that scratch paper, and I'm going to cover up my glue so it doesn't clog again in case we need him again. And some Petunia Pop ink, and this little stamp right here from the stamp set that looks like this, the little stars and dots. And I'm going to just stamp all around the edge. So open up my ink here, get my stamp. Like I said, I'm going to just go around the edge here. Whoops, I missed. I'm going to go around the edge. There we go. Kind of turn my stamp so it follows. So it's kind of a random pattern, and you don't need a lot. If you can see, you can barely see it around the edge down here. It's more at the top than at the edge that we need them really. But I don't want a bare bottom, so I'm going to stamp them all the way around. I have to tell you really quick. So this morning, my daughter played softball, and in the early hours in the morning, it was really cold, right? So you come in a jacket, and then you spend hours later in the sun, and then you get home and you're pretty cold because your body's all, I guess, warm from the sun. So I went and put a sweatshirt on, and now I'm sweating a little bit. It's pretty hot in here, and I'm bummed that I have a sweatshirt on. But anyway, let's finish up and then I'll go take my sweatshirt off. So we have that stamped. Now, before I put that away, I should have checked to make sure. See, so I've stamped enough that at least it's covered and you see it like that. But make sure you put those stars around the edges. Oh, well, we'll do that. Because then, before I put that away, I'm going to stamp some stars on here too. And I'm going to just put 3 of them just kind of random like this. Set that aside. Let's do the same. I'm going to take my chamois here and wash my stamp. Where's my stamp? I'm going to stamp off a little bit so it doesn't get my chamois quite so dirty. Clean that stamp. And then some other colors in this is that Summer Splash, that's what it's called. So I'm going to stamp some of those on there too. Make sure this is clean. It is. We'll just stamp. I'm going to go here, and then maybe here, and then over here. Well, no, I want to put it this way. There we go. And then once again, I'm going to clean that stamp, and then we'll do the same thing with some peach pie. And those are just the 3 colors of our balloons that will kind of coordinate with the. And before you go anywhere and say we're done, I'm going to show you the insides of the cards that I did at our club meeting, because we meet on Zoom and they're a little bit different. So look how cute that is with just a pop of color around that happy birthday. Because you could do so much more with these extra little balloons on the inside. So let me just take a commercial break and I'll show you some of the cards from Stamp Club, how we did the inside this way. So one of them, let's see which one this one is. This is the one. This is the one that I already showed you. We did like that. This one I took and I stamped those 3 little balloons. Now these I just put flat. I put these 2 flat. I did put some glue dots in between the 2 balloons, so this one kind of laid a little bit higher, and that way it's level. And then in this case, I took the, what is this called? The Greetings for All, the black and white Infera packs. And I picked a happy birthday out of there. So which one did I pick? I'll show you which one I picked, and then I just colored it. Here we go. I took this happy birthday right here, and then I just colored it with the coordinating Stampin' Blends in those 3 colors, right? That coordinate with that. You could also use your Stampin' White markers. Those would work just fine too. And I colored that little happy birthday, and that's what I put on top of the strings, because when you stamped it, it just didn't look right. It had to cover the strings. Now, Raina, who's part of Club, didn't have the Infirm packs. What she did, she took, and we've used it not too long ago, the butterfly dies, and there's this big label here, which happens to fit that happy birthday just right. And you could take something like this, stamp that happy birthday, and lay that over the balloons too, or the strings of the balloons. I think that would look really just as good. And you should have those dies, because we used them not too long ago at Stamp Club. So there you go. That's just another idea that you could do for the inside of your card. Okay, let's go ahead and finish our card. I'm gonna take my Poppy Parade card base here. I like to make sure the bump of the score line is on the inside, and then fold it over, make sure it's straight. Crisp fold with my bone folder. I'm going to take this and I'm going to just glue it flat. Here again, when you put this down, it's going to be a little tiny border again. Oh, there he goes. I didn't think the glue was coming out, then all of a sudden there it was. Okay, so a little tiny border, that's what I'm using. I'm going to get some up here. I have a bare spot that I don't like. Okay, make sure it's first the right side up, because we stamped a little bit more up here than we did down here. Scooch it in there for the tiny border, so it looks even all the way around like that. And then I'm going to take this piece. We might as well just put this, I'll just use liquid glue since it's right here. Put this on the inside. like that. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals on the back of this piece, which I don't know why dimensionals always disappear. Seems like you use them all the time, but yet they are very good at hiding. So where did I sit? Do you see them on my desk? I don't either. Let's grab some more. If those are mini dimensionals, I don't want those. Here we go. Here's some more. I wonder where those other ones went, but I kid you not, dimensionals I think are the best hide and seekers. They win every time. Okay, I'm going to just throw 5 on here. Make sure his tummy doesn't sag and each corner will be fine. And then we'll center that on here. So it looks like that. And then we had our ribbon, which now there he is. I'm going to just, excuse me, I'm going to just tie a simple bow. You have to forgive my cough. They tell me that the medication I take for my high blood pressure causes a dry cough like that. And the doctor asked me if he wanted to change my medication to get rid of the cough if it really bothered me. And I'm like, well, it's working. My blood pressure is fine, so let's not mess with that. So you just have to put up with my dry cough all the time. It is a little bit frustrating. Okay, little simple bow. It's easiest to put that on with a glue dot. So I'm going to just take a glue dot here. I'm going to kind of take my paper snips here and kind of roll it or fold it so it fits under the knot of my bow. That way it makes it a little bit smaller. Just tuck it right here on that peach balloon and then set it right there. And now, after you see how long or what your bow looks like, how long you want to trim these tails. And I don't want my tails too long because I don't want it to interrupt with the string. So I'm going to cut them pretty short this time. Maybe about like that. What do you think? Think that looks okay? I do too. Okay, now we just need to put our gems on there. Slide my take your pick tool. I think that's what it's called. Underneath that glue dot on the gem. And well, I think I'm going to place them the same place I did on this card. I'm going to put a couple down here. And then I'm going to put one up here in where there's just kind of like bare spots on the card. We're going to just add those little bling just like that. And there you go. There is card number 2. So let's bring those cards back in and I'll show them all to you. First of all, I want to show you the insides again. So you could do your inside something like this with those extra balloons, right? Or you could do something like this with the stamping. Both I think are really cute. And then the other card looks like this. And again, I will put the demonstrator's name. I can't find the other card that we made. Oh, here they are. Yeah, so I have 3. The 2's good enough. And then, of course, that third card that I include in your kit. But I'll put the demonstrator's name that I cased this from. It's a really cute card, and I think she deserves credit. All right, if you have any questions, be sure and let me know. As always, you can go to my gallery, becreativewithkathy.com. Just give me a few minutes after I publish the video, and I'll have all the measurements and the supply list on there too. Alrighty, have a great day, and I'll see you back here next month for Stamp Club. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.